Welcome back to the Total Focus Podcast. I'm your host, Paul. Our special guest this week is Linda Hollenbeck. She is a one-time pageant contestant. And the reason why I had Linda on the show is Linda, on her own, prepared and competed in Maryland USA pageant. And I think Linda has a lot of really good things that she's learned and really help all of my listeners out there that are considering to do a pageant but have not. Linda put together her own dress. She found a trainer. She got headshots all by herself. So I think Linda is a great person to interview and get great advice. So if you're on the fence and you need some good advice from someone, stay tuned because Linda's going to help. Our sponsor of the week is Mid-Atlantic Video and Photography Production. No matter if you need photo help with your wedding, special event, real estate, you name it, they are the team to get the photos done. And no matter if you need videography help, if you need a commercial, real estate video, or just need some video projects, they are the team to get the video job done. So don't forget to reach out to Mid-Atlantic Video and Photography Productions for both your photo and video needs. And welcome to the show.
Hi, Paul. How are you?
Well, hi, Linda. I'm doing very well. How is quarantine going for you?
It's going well. It's going well. I'm still able to work, and so I'm very thankful for that, and I'm still able to get some stuff done.
Well, you know
Wow, then.
that's really fabulous that you have the opportunity to still work. I'm thankful that you do have the opportunity. I know a lot of our fellow pageant contestants, also actor friends, are not in the same situation, so that's definitely a blessing. So
Yes, it's very much a big blessing.
So Linda, I wanted to bring you on specifically because I made a connection about doing photos, but you had told me that the last pageant was your first one, so I thought it would be a really great person to come on the show and talk about your first experience because I have this feeling that there's a lot of people that listen to the show that have never been in a pageant or a runway show, and I think that the experience of you doing one of the bigger ones is really valuable information. I think that a lot of people could learn from it. So that's why I thought Linda would be such an incredible person to bring on. So
Thank you so much, Paul. I would be glad I would be glad to talk about it.
all right, and I appreciate your time very much. So let's break it down this way. All right, so for you specifically, what was the defining factor that finally you decided to do your first pageant, which was the Miss Maryland USA pageant?
So I'm gonna get a little bit personal here,
If you're okay with that,
but
you know.
I had faced, oh gosh, I would have always been told that I should be doing modeling or pageantry by my mother or by other people. And I didn't really take it seriously until I had gone on a date with a guy I had really liked. And I had thought he had liked me too. However, though, it ended up not working out. And I said, okay, let me just take a step back and let me just reevaluate myself and say, all right, where did this go wrong? And I saw this man pursuing another female. And I said, oh my goodness. It did break my heart a little bit because I felt I had put myself out there. I have goals. I have ambitions. I'm going to school. I'm doing very well in school. I know what I want in life. And yet this guy didn't see any of that in me and what he wanted. So I had decided right there and then that I wanted to try out for a beauty pageant because I had wanted to do this for myself, for growth, and to prove to the people who had been telling me all along that I needed to do pageantry or modeling to finally take it seriously and just go out and do it. So I had made up my mind. I had told my parents, I said I had signed up for the Miss Maryland USA pageant, and I had decided to do it. So yeah, that's how I did it.
Do you think that if you weren't put in that situation, where you felt that you were not being picked because someone else may have been doing that competition beforehand, that you wouldn't have? Or do you think you would have been on that projective either way? It's just this kind of hyper put you in that category.
I believe that I would have done the competition anyways. Um, because for the longest time, Paul, I did not feel confident about my physical appearance because I grew up in a predominantly white county here in Carroll County, Maryland, and I did not see much of how do I say this, mixed races or other
Culture.
races in this county. Culture, thank you. Culture in the county. So it was a lot of whiteness, and there was this mindset of people from high school and from other schools that I had gone to that just, how do I describe this? I'm sorry, I'm thinking about this. Um that they didn't have the desire to better themselves, if that makes sense.
No, it's totally understand. I just watched a Vox report about people living in coal communities, and they refusing to move even though there are no jobs available, and all they want to do is be coal miners. So that that exists. So
Yes. And so, yeah.
so you're saying that because you have a group of people that would never move from your county, that I guess I'm trying to, what was the, and because I'm what was the goal there, because I'm losing that, I'm sorry.
Uh, The goal the goal of Miss Maryland was to see what pageantry was like for the first time and to see other girls of different ethnicities compete for the crown,
Got you.
and to see how what I could bring to the table.
Okay. So for you, it was also an enlightenment to be more indoctrination to the whole normal society, because from what you're saying, if I'm not stretching it, you've been sheltered from a community standpoint, that you've only been around one culture. Is that correct?
Yes, I have been sheltered. I grew up going to a Christian private school for my entire life until I finally went to a public school for my freshman year of high school. And that was a very big culture shock.
So is that when the pageant idea or getting outside the community popped in your head?
Yes, because I did not I do not want to stay stuck in the same place forever. I would like to go out and travel more instead of stay here for the rest of my life.
So if you are the person that is yourself but 16 months earlier, what do you tell that person to have the confidence that you have now and to do the competition? What are the suggestions? So maybe they've never done a pageant, and they're they're maybe they're having um, society stresses, or maybe they're not as confident with their looks. What do you think you should advise them?
I would say to that person, follow your dreams and decide what you want. What is your goal? What do you want to get out of this for yourself and for the pageant? sometimes when we aren't feeling confident in ourselves, Paul, I believe that you just have to tell yourself, I am confident, I can do this, I have the ability to do this, and you have to push out every single negative thought out of your head and just go with it.
So when I work with newly actors or models or pageant contestants, I always ask them personally, what's more important to you? Is the actual journey and the preparedness to getting to the event more fun and more rewarding, or is it the actual event and perhaps winning it and being on stage or actually being in that role? What was more fun for you?
Oh goodness, probably. Oh gosh, am I allowed to say both?
This is your I want you to be truthful. So,
I believe both because
and if you're gonna say both, just give us some defining reasons why.
so while preparing for this pageant, I I had originally wanted a trainer at first. However, though, I was working two jobs at that time and going to school. And so I realized that this is probably something I would have to do on my own. So I ended up doing a lot of things on my own. I ended up going to get my interview outfit, trying on everything on my own, and same with my evening gown, along with finding a personal trainer and training physically and lifting weights. I had never lifted weights in my life, but I was determined to look good on stage. And so I said, all right, I can do this. It's out of my comfort zone, but I can do this. Um, that was the preparedness part. And then being on stage, that was exhilarating. Just going up on stage for the first time, Paul, and just dancing to the intro and then going off on stage and changing into your swimwear. Swimwear was very nerve wracking. I didn't see no reason why I didn't need to feel confident, but I went out there and I was confident. So I did my swimwear. I had never done anything like that in my life. And then once that was over, I did my evening gown. I had decided to go for a simple look for my pageant this year, and so I decided to pick out, it was a Jessica Angel dress. It was gold. It was light colored because I wanted, because I have dark hair, and so I wanted something to contrast. And so I went out there. I had never worn a dress like that in my life, but I did it, and I felt very confident in it and very pretty in it. So
Well, you look. I mean, I'm looking at your Instagram. I think you picked a really great dress. So if you've never picked out a dress, um, for such an event, I think you did a great job. And did that take no assistance from anybody, no girlfriend or mom coming with you or dad or?
no, I was the only one there inside the dress shop. I had originally had an aqua blue gown. However, that was picked. Well, it wasn't picked. It was suggested for me. However, though, when I had tried it on, I had it was a little bit too big on me
Mhm.
because because this was the shame. This was the it was the same shop I had gotten my prom dress, but that was back in 2016. So I was a different size back then. So when I went to get this dress, I assumed that I would have gotten this dress because it would have fit me. However, it was just too it was too big. So I
Which is a
decided
good
to find,
thing. That means you're in better shape and you're, um, that's a good thing, right?
yeah, it definitely was. It definitely was a good thing. Because my meal plan and my personal trainer was obviously working, and
Yeah. So
so
kudos to you. Whoop, 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 whoop. Right?
yep, thank you so much. And so I had picked that gown. It fit perfectly. And the slit was not too high. Um, it was a little bit daring for somebody like me to wear that because I usually would pick a gown that was a little bit more modest, but I had said, you know what, let's just go with this gown and let's just try it out. So I did.
So are you? I want. Are you when picking out your dress? Like,
Yes.
are you focusing on more of a color then, or were you not considering like gems or rubies on your dress, or like what was the defining factor? Because if you said you've never done, you had a prom, but you fully admitted that you'd never picked out a dress like this. Um,
I
so you never went to any other like formal events either. So what,
I
like
have gone to other.
break this down for someone who is like trying to understand like how to look for that dress and they don't have anyone to help them with that.
So I have gone to other like formal events before. Like I've been to a Marine Corps ball, and I wore my prom dress to that one, which it had like sparklies and stuff, and it had a slit in the middle of the chest. However, though with this one though, I had wanted the reason I had gotten this gown was because I wanted to show that gowns that don't have sparkles on them and just have a solid color and a style like that can still look beautiful. So that was a deciding factor of why I chose the gown. Something simple, something beautiful, and so and then the style. The style I had picked it was because I I take my nutrition and my health really seriously. And so I wanted something that my body would look good in. And so that was a deciding factor as well.
Well, that's good that you had like a concept. So if someone isn't really confident if they want to go with, do you have any suggestions on like how to narrow it down? Because you could go with an A line cut, or you can go with crystals, or you can go with a mermaid cut. Um, I see that the ball gown that you use for the officers event was more of a lace outfit. So what was
Yes,
your
that was more lace.
right? So what was your, did you take the mindset that and the knowledge, or were you aware that USA is more showy and America is more conservative? Was that in your brain? Did you know that, or you just had?
That was actually not in my brain.
Okay,
So I mean, yeah, that was it's not in my brain.
okay. So you just happened to pick something that was more showy then.
Yes, for this pageant, yes.
So that you just had good fortune that you had bought a really good dress for the pageant.
I believe so because honestly, that was the second dress I had tried on because I was originally looking for a Cherry Hill dress, but I looked around and the woman actually picked this gown off the rack and she said, "Here, I think you would look great in this. Just try it on." So I said, "Okay." And I actually liked it. And so
So you had made a point that you found a trainer. So how
a
did you,
personal trainer.
yeah, so how did you go about that? So break down that kind of um, idea of how to do that. So if someone doesn't really work out, you said you'd never lift weights before. Did you just go to a random gym, or did you do a Google search, or did you look on Facebook for recommendations? How did you find your trainer?
So Westminster is a really small area. We only have about no, we have a Planet Fitness. We have a gym called the Gym, and then we have a private that we have a privately owned gym which my trainer owns. It's called Danny K and Wellness, and so I decided I had worked out at the two previous gyms, and then I decided that I was not happy there. I didn't like it. I wanted something more private. So I went to this gym that was privately owned. And I said to her, "Can I have help? I'm doing this pageant. I would like to look fit. Can you please help me?" And so she said, "All right." So I paid for So I got a meal plan, and then I got a personalized gym plan, and then I just started to work out.
Do you think that you definitely need to have the meal plan to go with the workouts, or do you think that you could go with one or the other, like hire someone just to give you meal plans, or hire someone to just give you a good workout and you could figure the meal plan out with just some good Google searching?
I definitely liked the meal plan that she gave me because I had no idea what I was doing or what I was supposed to eat. So so basically my meals for the month of October and the month of November, it was a bowl of no, hold on. It was a bowl of Cheerios, and it was eggs, a banana, and water. I was supposed to drink about 16 to 14 cups a day of water for every day. And so that was what I had in the morning. And then for my snack, I was allowed to eat one granola bar. And then during the middle of the day, I she had suggested protein drinks, which were enough to satisfy me, but it wasn't made to be a meal. Like I had to eat after I drank that protein drink. And then I would have pretzels, 1 cup of pretzels during after the protein drink. That was around like 3 to 2 o'clock, 2 to 3 o'clock. And then for dinner, I would have 1 chicken breast with a cup of vegetables. And then for a snack after that, I had 1 lemon bar.
Now, is this something that you were able to stay consistent at? Because that sounds very restricting. And you had said, I don't know if you had mentioned on the show, but in the pre-show that you have a very busy job even now. So was that something that you were able to actually maintain?
It was definitely hard at times because well, I was taking classes during that time as well. So I would bring my food to class and eat it. But it was hard. But I'm really glad I stuck through with it because I like being on like a plan that I can follow through and that I can stick through. And so
Are you um, like, has that awoken more of your fitness desires now? Are you now?
it definitely has. Um it definitely has because now really for supper time I only eat chicken really or fish with either broccoli or lentils. And so that it's really helped me not crave fast food, which is really good. I mean, I'm still able to eat fast food, but it makes me a little bit sick, and so I prefer to stay at home and prepare my own food.
I mean, we everyone knows if you just watched Super Size Me or any of those sugar documentaries, that, or just, like yourself, you don't eat it for a couple of days and then it makes you sick. So we all know it's not good for you. I mean,
No,
that's very commendable that you're able to wean off it. Um, are are you confident when we're not in quarantine that you're like only having it once a month? Are you that good, or like maybe twice?
I'm honestly not that good. I mean, especially well when it came to quarantine, because the since the gyms have closed, I was slacking off my meal plan a little bit. I was eating a little bit of whatever I wanted,
But that's
which
but that's because we're on quarantine. I mean, that's not that's why I said
yeah.
don't hold you. I mean, if anyone was going to do a fitness competition the day after we officially get full out of quarantine, then no one would win a competition because no one would be, unless you literally had your own personal gym. So that's not fair to you, and that's not fair to anyone. So,
No, yeah. I mean, I just ate Chipotle yesterday, and I'll probably get more Chipotle tomorrow because I just got a gift card for graduation. So I've been eating that a little bit, and then taking part in my meal plan. So
well, I mean, one of the things about Chipotle is that you can get a reasonably healthy meal. You could just get, a chicken, um, and lettuce, and you don't have to get the guacamole and all the other stuff on top of it. So
No, I mean, and Chipotle is one of the few foods that actually that doesn't make me sick. It doesn't make me feel sick. So,
well, that's good. I mean, there must be some actual real fresh food there. I mean, I just watched a documentary where a gentleman has been what's the right word, um, keeping or holding in a canister a a cheeseburger from 1999. So it's 21 years old, and
oh my gosh.
it didn't mold, it didn't rot. It's like physically still like there. So if that burger can last 21 years, I wonder what it's doing to our arteries. So
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I grew up eating healthy foods. My father's a nurse, and so he would provide me with healthy foods, which I was really grateful for because I think it really shaped my eating habits today. That I'm still able to eat some fast foods and some foods that I enjoy, but only in moderation.
I mean, but that's also the way it should be, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. I strongly believe that you are what you eat. And so, yeah.
I just wanted to take 1 second from this great interview and talk about our sponsor of the week, Mid Atlantic Video and Photography Productions. No matter if you're planning a wedding, a special event, or you just need an amazing headshot, they are the team to get the job done. You can reach out to them at 443 422 3830. Again, that's 443 422 3830. Or you can just go right to their website at mavpp.com. Now let's get right back to the show and listen to this great interview. I mean, Linda, I 100% agree with you. If you've ever seen the original Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, when the one girl has the snozberries and she turns into a snozberry and she blows up to be a blueberry, um, you know, it's important that you take care of yourself. I mean, they were trying to make a point there by making fun of her and being sarcastic, but if you don't take care of yourself, or if you're like I think his name's Felix, the one who wants to drink he wants to
Oh,
eat the chocolate milk, he wants to eat the chocolate river. Um,
yep, I remember that.
so I think that specific movie has a lot of good um, and shows the negativity if you overeat, So
I definitely, yep,
I know it's an
I
old movie, and like I'm 37, and it's to me it's like it was made in made in the 60s. So to me it's not that old, but like for you, you're another 10 years. You're 10 years younger than me, so to you it's even older. So to me it's a classic, and if we're talking about food, I just thought that was a good reference. So,
no,
um,
absolutely.
so, so you on your own, you found your dress, you found your confidence and your meal plan and your gym. Okay,
Hmm.
so
Yes.
like in retrospect, just like the prep work, in all honesty, is this being a little PC, or to say, is it more of like a haha to him, or is it more like I want to win him back, I want to win him, or is it not that at all?
It's definitely not that at all. Judging from about when I had gone out with him, um, I definitely don't ever want him back again. It's not in the Lord's plan. He's not meant to be in my life. Um, and that's okay because I think that we grow up with this societal, how do I say this societal mindset that if you can't find a guy, then obviously there's something wrong with you. When that's really not the case, because I have never been personally in a romantic relationship. I've only gone out on dates. However, it's not it didn't how is this? It didn't really bother me as much. It was more of like, okay, whatever, like it's not gonna work, obviously. So because I feel personally like I would be held back if I did have a romantic relationship right now, because I feel that there's just so much to get done right now that I have to do for myself and for my future, that it would just be a setback. And so,
Well, I totally understand that sometimes a relationship, um, there's only so much time in a day, and having a relationship is time consuming. And you know, if you're meant to be, you'll come back. But it's also, to me, um, it seems like he really hurt you, but he also seems like he positively motivated you. So it doesn't
yeah,
sound like you have really negative feelings towards him, but we're all human. Sometimes, we all want to be like, "See, I told you," but it seems like you're a much bigger person, and you're not even willing to contemplate that as a motivating factor, which is being very big of you to do that. That's great.
thank you so much. I do appreciate that, because I do tend to beat myself up on things that have happened in the past. But I want to turn my energy towards positive actions, towards positive feelings for my future and what I can do for my education and for pageantry and for anything else that comes in my way.
But I will say, when you do find the time, I will
Hmm.
encourage you to open yourself up, because the drug of happiness with someone is something that is very important, and also um, something that you can't fill with other things in life. You can't really fill that portion with family or with like more stuff. Like you can't buy, if you buy $1,000 worth of makeup, that still doesn't fill that hole, or like a beautiful dress. You can look,
Absolutely.
So I would encourage you not to wait forever, because when you get that feeling and you understand what it is, then you'll understand how important that is too. So
Hmm. Thank you.
no,
Yes.
um, so what's the next step? So how do you strategize it? Are you taking notes, and then, okay, so I know I've got the dress, I know I've got the trainer and the meal plan. Are you doing like that, or are you just kind of like you juggle everything like yourself, or because you said you're all doing this all by yourself, because you're not running it by someone, correct?
No, I'm not. I'm honestly doing it all by myself. I am. So during
And in retro, I want to ask a follow up question. And in retrospect, would you have wanted someone to be along with the journey?
it would have been nice, but I'm in a sense glad that I did this by myself, because I knew what I wanted, as in interview outfits and as in evening gowns, and what I wanted to do, and how I wanted to speak to the judges. I had wanted my evening gown to be red. However, that didn't happen. So I said, let me see if I can make my interview outfit red. And so I had wanted a
So don't
jumpsuit.
so don't gloss over that. So you wanted your evening gown to be red. Is that okay?
Yes.
So why did you go with the beautiful gold outfit and not the red? Because you also said that they had pulled a blue dress for you.
Yes, they did pull an aqua blue dress for me. However, that ended up being a bit too large for me.
Right.
So we went with the gold instead. Now, the gold, it had fit me very snug. I like to feel comfortable when I'm up on that stage because I'm sure, as you know, it's already pretty nerve wracking. But I had gone with the gold because I wanted to stand out color wise and make, because I wasn't honestly too sure how many girls would choose a basic color such as red or blue or black. And so I had said, okay, let's try to think outside the box here for a minute.
Okay.
So I had chosen gold.
Now, but why
But
did you skip over red? Because you said red was the ideal color you wanted to go with.
I had skipped over red because, oh gosh, I don't know how to answer this question.
Did someone like sell you out of it? Like, did someone say, like the percentages are not as great in red, or did anyone say something like that to you?
Actually, no. Gosh, I don't, it was probably probably someone said something to me, like a salesperson had said something like, oh, red's not the choice for this pageant, or yeah, it was probably somebody that said something to me about that,
Okay.
about the color. Yeah.
Now, in retrospect, now that you've had your first opportunity, been on stage, do you want to
Mhm.
do red?
I definitely would go with a red dress again. I would like to find a red dress because of the makeup that I would want to be put in. I believe I look good in red lipstick, and so I really like the red lipstick look, and so I would like a red dress to be able to be able to go with that look.
So is that something that you're definitely going to consider? I mean, I'm assuming, I don't want to be forward, but are you considering, under normal circumstances, if there wasn't quarantine, to do another pageant right away? Or are you,
Oh,
um,
absolutely.
okay.
Um, I would definitely have to save up first, but absolutely, I would do another pageant.
And then is red, so red is definitely the color you're going to wear when that time comes.
Oh, definitely.
Okay. So, um, and would you definitely do USA again, or do you want to, like, do you feel USA is the pageant for you, or do you want to venture in and do America or one of the other, um, I say trainer pageants, but they're all in similar. Just there are two that have television contracts, and there are the ones that don't have a television contract. So
I would definitely feel that Miss USA is for me because I feel that I could bring something to the stage. I definitely feel that I could bring something to the stage. I have ambitions, I have goals, and Miss USA it became one very quickly.
that's awesome. Okay, so you're now at the pageant. It's your first one.
Hmm.
How did your interview go? How did you strategize for it? How did you practice for it? So how did you practice for it? How did your interview go? Um,
Oh gosh. I'm gonna be honest, I actually did not practice for it.
okay.
All I knew was just to be truthful, honestly. Just be true to yourself. Don't try to make something up. Don't try to um, be someone you're not. Just go in there and just be yourself. So
So did
I
you get
won't.
challenged by any domestic questions or terrorist questions or government questions or any kind of ecological, or were you challenged in that way? Questions that may be not in your normal wheelhouse of discussion every day.
I was challenged by why do you want to be Miss Maryland question, and then they they asked me if I was mixed, and I said yes. And then they asked me if I could speak Espanol, and I said yes. And then
Okay, wait.
they,
Can I? So
yeah,
I find that to be kind of, I mean, in a real interview, that's not appropriate. But I kind of find that in the same, because this is still a job interview. It just happens to be for a pageant. So they asked you that question. Okay.
well, so I
I mean,
had put on
to
my,
me that's so inappropriate.
oh, really? Oh,
Yeah.
oh, well,
Like,
I mean,
so
so
I, go ahead, go ahead. I want you to go ahead, talk.
so it was like my first time, and so I had put on the interview paper that like it was one of the questions of what was it, what makes you feel unique.
Okay.
And so I put down like, oh, like my mother's from Colombia and my father's from the US, and so like that's what makes me feel unique. Like my parents have like
Okay, so
they
that's where that
they
question
come
came
from
from.
two.
Okay.
I believe so. Yes. And so I remember the man asking me the question,
And
but he said,
of course, it's a guy, because guys don't know how to ask proper questions to women. That's
yeah,
just my opinion. That's just my opinion. Okay.
it's fine. And so he said, so you're mixed? And I said, yes, I am biracial. And so he said, okay, okay, And so I was like, all right. And then what else did they ask me? They
Okay.
like,
So,
oh, they asked, yeah.
well, now, so what was challenging about why you want to be Miss Maryland?
Oh God.
Did that question never occur in your thought? Like, did you not think that they were going to ask you that basic question?
No, I believe they were going to ask me that question, but I'm going to be honest, I was not prepared.
Okay. So, how did you answer it originally, and how would you answer it today?
Oh gosh. I originally answered it that honestly, if you want something bad enough, you're going to find a way to get it. No matter where anybody comes from, no matter if you come from poverty or you come from the middle class or wealth, people have dreams and they believe that their dreams are not achievable when in fact that they are. People may come from a different financial situation or culture situation or whatever type of situation. They have the ability to overcome that, and their dreams are valid and true. So if you want it, you go and you get it. So that was what I put on my interview paper. And now why and now how would I answer Miss Maryland? Or how would I answer why do I want to be
Right,
Miss
because they're going to
Maryland?
ask you. They're going to ask you this question again. So, what do you,
Yes.
how do you think you how do you think you'd answer it this time?
Oh gosh. Paul, I'm going to be honest. I really don't know
Okay,
because,
fair
yeah,
enough.
I just don't know. Yeah.
No, it's fair enough. Um, do you think that answer should be thought out, or do you think that having that answer come from your heart and speak at that moment is better?
I definitely think that it should come from your heart and that you should reevaluate yourself on why you're doing this and why you want to win that title because we were all there for some reason. Um, we were all there either to prove a point or because someone really wanted to do this or whatever. And I just think that it really needs to come from your heart because having a state title is so much more than just being pretty. You have to have goals. You have to um have responsibilities and I believe answer tough questions. So,
No, I think that's absolutely a valid point, and I think most judges would say that you should have a summary of kind of what you want to say, but you want to speak truthfully from your heart and not have a script. So, I mean, when I've been a judge, the answers that have come off as more genuine are the ones that are not pre-scripted. So I do agree with you on that point.
Thank you.
So looking back, do you think you have observed and are aware what you did not as well in the interview and understand what you need to do better? Or do you think that going into your next pageant that you definitely need to work with someone for interview to focus on that, because the interview is such a big
It's a
component?
big deal.
Is right. Like it's almost, some pageants it's 50%. So do you think you've done so much hard work with your body and the outfit? Do you think you need to put some effort into your interview? Because at your own admission, you put no extra effort into working on interview.
Yeah, I definitely believe I strongly believe I do need to work on my interview skills, because I do get nervous and I do let my nervousness show at times. And so definitely like interviewing is something that I would need to get better at. And so
Now, what are you noticing that you say that you allow people to get to show you're nervous? So do you have a little tick? Do you wrap your finger
no,
or tap your foot or?
I tend to clamp my hands tend to get sweaty and I tend to clam them together. Like I tend to like just move my fingers, and they probably just see that and they say, okay, she's probably getting nervous.
Okay. Well, as a judge before, it's really hard to see if your hands are sweaty from like 2 feet away. So I'll have to really say you don't have to worry about that. But if you're fidgety, that's a big telltale that you still need practice. So um, you know, I don't know if you've ever watched cheerleading auditions, but they're really good at like setting a pose. So like they'll come in and they'll have their pose. So have you worked on something like that? Do you have like a do you have your it pose when you like you're flirting with someone or you're trying to get someone's attention or you're at like a social event? Do you have your, because that's what I would recommend.
So I usually put my right hand on my right hip and I either put one foot back or like I like kind of put my knee forward,
Hmm.
and that's how like it's that's how like I'm if I'm trying to get someone's attention, like one of my friends' attentions, like I'll do that pose. But for Miss Maryland, I actually was looking up some pictures and I noticed that it was like, oh gosh, how do I? It was like one foot like is put forward, and another foot is turned inward. I
Okay.
think, yeah. If I can find a picture, I can probably see
No, I
what
mean
I
that's a
did.
great. So they were more of a T. They were more standing like a T, and then straight up.
Yes, a T straight up.
So, do you think that? Do you think that's more your comfort zone, or do you think you'd be more comfortable doing it? Because, in my honest opinion, and would you recommend other people that haven't done a pageant that you should do the pose that makes you feel the most confident?
I definitely think you should probably do a pose that makes you feel the most confident, because I feel that if you're confident, you will also be comfortable as well. Because the last thing you want to be doing is going up on stage and looking uncomfortable and um, letting and the judges can tell by your face. I'm pretty sure
Mm-hmm.
what you're like feeling, and so yeah,
I mean, it's just like you can tell if someone doesn't like you pretty quickly. Um,
yeah.
um, I've read several articles as well as watched a lot of um, psychological classes, and they say that we determine if we are going to like this person in the first 30 seconds. And it's
hmm
very, I don't know if you have noticed this yourself, but it's a very like a visceral thing, and it doesn't happen as fast by text message or phone calls, but you can sum up someone just like that, and then usually after you make that determination, it's really hard to turn that person to the. So if you're saying, nah, I don't like this person, it's really hard to make you say, yeah, I do like this person. So
Hmm. I strongly believe that.
yeah,
I really can tell if someone is going to like me or is not going to like me by the way they speak and by the way their eyes and their facial expressions are.
as the guys that are listening to the show, what we call the permanent friend zone. So most guys know exactly if you're put in the friend zone, you never, unless you're really good, you never get put in the other, the other category. So
Oh, absolutely.
let's see. Um, I just wanted to take one extra second and talk about our sponsor of the week, Mid Atlantic Video and Photography Production. No matter if you're planning a wedding and you need a wedding videographer, you're doing a music video, or you're doing a commercial, they are the team to get the job done. You can reach out to them at 443 422 3830. Again, that's 443 422 3830. Or you can go right to their website at mavpp.com. Now let's get right back to this great interview. All right, Linda. So this is the part of the show where I let my guest bring up any important items that we haven't discussed yet. So I know during our pre-show that you had mentioned that you're still coming up with a platform, which is understandable. You're still working on that. But is there anything that is really passionate to you that you just want to point out? I know you're in the medical field, so I'm sure you have um, corona things that you may want to talk to. I don't want to just put things in your mouth or other things, but if there's anything that we can help people out, I would love to give you a couple seconds to point anything out.
I I definitely, I don't know if this is something to be passionate about, but I definitely believe that there are different types of beauty found in all types of cultures throughout the world. And as like a society in this country, I feel like we have put certain beauty standards on like a pedestal, and girls have to achieve that they have to achieve that look, or they are told that they will never be able to achieve that look because of the way because of the way they look physically. Hair color, eye color, body shape. That's what, like, I feel like the society is so focused on when it comes to liking females, when in fact there's just so much more than just the physical appearance. I feel there's so much more deep down. I believe there's a lot of like personality that shows through, because someone could be ugly and then but have a beautiful personality, and that's what truly matters. Where someone could be the most gorgeous person on earth and they can have an ugly personality. So I definitely think it's important to just have like an open mind, especially with females, because we are being told so many things nowadays of what we have to look like, what we have to wear, and I just think it's important to just be you.
Okay, so I'm gonna break down a couple things. Then, do
Yeah.
you feel that you are being put as a woman in your young 20s?
Mm-hmm.
Um, you're being pushed to go to the gym and eat properly just to attract a young 20-year-old or a 30-year-old, or you're doing that because you would do that regardless, and it's not has nothing to do with the opposite sex.
I would definitely do that just for myself, because I know that if I put my health first, I know that my mental health will be healthy. I'm a big believer in mental health, and that physical health, mental health goes it can go any way. Because you can have poor mental health and that can affect your body and your eating habits immediately. Or you can have great physical health and no wait, I'm sorry. You can have really bad physical health, but yet it could affect your mental health as well. So I think it's important to find that balance in between, if that makes sense.
No, I absolutely agree.
Yeah.
Do you also think that people see people with those kind of glasses over, where they see someone that is overweight and they don't ever consider them as an ideal mate, but in all reality, they're like you had mentioned, great personality. They're actually a great person, and maybe they just need some self love when it comes to like maybe someone telling them that they're beautiful and encourage them to work out and I workout is such a or just to not overeat, you know, because sometimes people do overeat because they are sad. Um,
Hmm.
uh,
I have personally never experienced that overeating because I felt upset. So I'm not sure if I should be speaking on that topic,
sure.
but I if I were to like encounter that, I would honestly say like, hey, like maybe you could try changing your eating habits, and that might lift up your mood, or just try to write positive sayings or affirmations that you can tell yourself, because we're always not going to feel confident or pretty. That's We're always not going to feel like that. So, and that's okay, because it means that there are other things in life more important than feeling that, and that we are always able to look at these affirmations and say, it's okay that I'm feeling this way, but I can't stay in this place, if that makes sense.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I I I've been thinking since we started this conversation. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Shallow Hal, where
No.
so the the main character is very attracted. He's a chubby guy and he has chubby friends, and he's very attracted to um, very gorgeous girls. And I would deem as girly girls, women that like to dress up and look beautiful, pageant girls, actors, attractive people. But he's shallow to people that are overweight, and he runs into a hypnotist, and he hypnotizes him to see only the true beauty. So, like you were saying, the person that may look really beautiful but is horrible inside, like they have a bad aura or they have no faith. Um, they eat really horribly, but they just happen to be skinny. But then he sees this one girl, but in real life, she's actually overweight. So
Mhm.
I always think that it's a good, interesting plot for a movie, as well as, you know, always thinking that, there is really important people that may be masked by things. People wear masks of certain kinds. So, you know,
Yes.
and a mask could be weight, but it also could be a physical mask. It could be something you wear, you know. So,
I Yeah, I mean, because I think we are all, as human beings, just we can be judgmental sometimes. And I mean, I've even had those moments where I have judged someone, and I said, oh crap, like I really shouldn't have done that. But um I think we have those moments, and I think it's really important to remember that it truly is what it's about on the inside. I mean, because we can fix the outside as much as we want. There's plastic surgery for that, and I know there is. However, though, I think it really starts with the inside and how you feel about yourself, and that's what springs your that it makes your physical and your inner beauty really shine. Because for years I had felt not really like confident and stuff, and I was like constantly saying like, oh well, I don't look like her. She's got blonde hair and blue eyes, and I just have brown eyes and brown hair, so I'm not really anything special. So it did take me several years to finally see it. if that makes sense.
No, it makes total sense. Do you think
Yeah.
that this pageant is what has really made you butterfly and open up and be so much more confident?
It definitely has, because like I didn't know what my goal was at first, but like other than to like do the pageant, I met some really great girls, and I made friends. I challenged myself. I went up on stage in front of complete strangers, and I was probably judged not by the judges, but by the crowd as well. And so, yeah.
So looking back at the pageant,
Yeah.
what do you think what do you think you did the best, and what do you think is the most you need to improve?
Oh goodness. um the best I probably did was just probably to not like tripping up on stage. That was probably the best. But like the best, I let loose. I had fun. Like that was probably the best, because like I'm always like thinking about like the future and stuff and what I need to do in order to prepare for it. But I was able to let go and just have fun.
Well, that's
And
not
then,
that. I
huh?
mean, that's really important. So,
Yeah, and then what I need to improve, I feel there's a lot of things I need to improve. Like I need to improve my walking, um, my choice of clothing for a different approach. I need to improve my interview skills. I like to be able to learn how to walk and then twirl and then walk. That's something I would like to do. And
and
yeah,
did you not have your shoes prior to the pageant?
I had bought the shoes probably several weeks before the pageant. They were the
To tippy tops?
yeah, they were those. And so I was afraid to do a turn, and so I just said, it's probably best if I just walk straight.
Well, I would encourage you to definitely go outside your comfort zone. So, because if you do, you think you're going to get a cape or have a long train to take advantage of that turn?
For the walk,
Yes.
I definitely could. Because I see the girls on Miss USA turn, and then they walk, and it just looks exquisite. And so
Mm-hmm.
I would definitely, yeah.
It's more to wow the crowd and for the photo op, but yes,
Mhm.
it tends to get a good roar. So,
Yeah.
are you after being on stage for the first time? Are you now crazy? Are you craving the actual crowd? Like, are you
I
looking forward?
definitely am. I am craving the months I would need to do in order to prepare. I'm craving to do another pageant again, and just to see other girls and just do my best and go there with a prepared mindset.
So, would you encouraging or willing to do a virtual pageant if that's the only option for the next couple months or maybe a year, depending on how everything works? Or do you think you're willing to wait for that big crowd that you had just mentioned that is so important to you?
I would be willing to wait, because during that time I would be able to train um and do some other things, but I would be willing to wait.
I mean, I agree with you.
It's
Being
just not
able,
the same.
no, I know I'm a huge wrestling fan, and there's a champion that has won a title in the time frame of quarantine, and it's a shame that he hasn't had his I would say his coronation, because he is the champion, but he hasn't gotten that big rounding applause that everyone deserves. So it would be a shame for you to win your first title and not get that applause only because no one's there. So,
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
well, Linda, before we go, what are some helpful tips now that you are on your road to your first title, and you're on your road for your next pageant, and you've put a whole pageant behind you, and you have that prep, and you have a for that person that has never done a pageant and they're going to do one. Is there anything that we haven't specifically pointed out on this journey on the podcast that we need to tell them that it's important for them to know?
I honestly think, you know what, just go in there and be yourself. However, just remember that you're there to win and get the crown. I mean, and I know a ton of other girls are there to win, but just I feel it's kind of hard to find that balance between, you know, being competitive and getting like your game face on, but yet still being like a butterfly and seeing everybody. But just find that balance in between and just stay true to yourself. Always stay true to yourself.
So do you personally have a mindset that no matter if it was your first pageant or your 20th pageant, you're going there to win, and you're not necessarily going there to have fun, and then if you win, you win? Are you that competitive that if you don't win, then it's a loss? Or you don't think that way?
I didn't think of this pageant as a loss because, you know, it was only like my first pageant and stuff. But I believe though that if you do prepare ahead of time with a really great with a really good coach, then your mindset should sharpen more, and it should be like, all right, you know, you're going there for the crown. Show these people what you're made of. Let them know. So
I mean, that's my mindset. I think that pageants are sports, and that if you prepare just like an athlete, it's pretty hard to deny you the crown, because if you're the best interview, you got the best dress, and you have worked on your fitness level, there's no reason why they shouldn't pick you, even if you're the tallest person in the world or the shortest person in the world, or you know you just are blue and everyone else is green. You know, if you're the most outstanding person, then you should win.
Yes, and so that's what I believe.
Well, Linda, I really appreciate you coming on the show, and I hope that all of our listeners really appreciate your insight, and I hope they understand that it took a lot of courage for you, and I really appreciate you letting us be your first big podcast. So we only hope bigger and better things for you. So when you are Miss USA, I hope that you remember that we did your first interview, and I hope you think fondly on the time.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Paul. I sincerely just appreciate everything. It was my first podcast and it went great, Paul. Just thank you so much. And I would love to do a shoot with you in the nearby future.
Oh, we would love to work with you. It's a shame with quarantine. It makes it very difficult. I'm working with someone, and I'm basically building an outdoor studio because I feel more comfortable doing that than having someone shoot in my studio. So we're just gonna have to play it we're gonna have to play it day by day until we have a real idea of how to handle this. So thank you so much, Linda.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Linda, for coming on the show. What a bright future you have. And I appreciate you being so willing to put yourself out there. And I am so flattered for you to let me be your first podcast and interview you. And I really hope that in the future, you know, when you're Miss Maryland and go on to compete for Miss USA, that you look fondly onto this interview. And I really appreciate your time. Don't forget, we have 2 shows on this feed. We have both the Total Focus podcast. And we also have our movie review show called The Movie Breakdown with my co-host, Yvonne Carlos. So I really appreciate you guys listening to our shows. Thank you so much. Don't forget, we're both on iTunes and on YouTube. Please give us a thumbs up. Please subscribe. And as always, please stay tuned.